What would Helldivers grunt fantasy game look like? It's Jegant Drago here, and this video isn't the usual if Arrowhead just makes these few changes and patches, then they can totally reach their goal for a grunt fantasy game. No, this video is building the game from the ground up again, as if we're going back 8 years ago or Helldivers 3, with the goal in mind to create something more grunt, just for fun. And the game we will reference to build this hypothetical game is an old game I used to play called Battlefield 2 Modern Warfare. And the main feature that came to my mind when I was thinking about this concept is the player need to have hot swap mechanic. So for that game, you can run around first person as always, but you can press a hotkey to jump to another soldier in front of you. So instead of running across the map, you can hot swap and jump to another soldier, and when you die, you would just respawn in the body of another soldier next to you. But this video is a hypothetical to pitch a grunt game idea to you guys. So generally, the issue with dying fast currently is that we still do not spawn back up fast enough, and thus it causes a pause in the gameplay too much. It makes the sense of dying less fun and more frustrating. The more powerful you are, in some case like a Space Marine, but that game has a different issue, the longer you are punished for dying. The inverse needs to be true, that if you're easily killed like a grunt, then you should be able to spawn back up into the fight faster. And waiting to be spawned by your teammates is not fast enough. Though I think one of the reinforcement boosters should allow you to hell pod down yourself manually. That's a patch that I wish for. Anyways, we come back around to the hot swap mechanic in Battlefield Modern Warfare. There's a few other games like Star Wars Republic Commando that has this mechanic, but I'll focus on Battlefield because it's the game I personally played. So in this hypothetical game design, we will keep the 4-player lobby that the current Helldivers 2 has. Instead of a massive 60-player lobbies that the Battlefield has, we will save a larger player lobbies for PlanetSide 2. So be sure to subscribe to see that video soon. When I played this game many years ago, I was a solo player with no internet connection. So I was playing next to other NPC bot soldiers running to battle to finish the mission. It was cool to jump from soldier to soldier, going into tanks and helicopters. In the case for Helldivers is that we can still spawn from a drop pod, but it will be on the edge of the map among many other NPC soldiers like we see with the Thief soldiers. Here you set your usual loadout with your 3 other teammates, and you will spawn into the map with a whole set of NPC soldiers with your loadout as well, to be able to jump to them while inside the map. In this case, all your support weapons won't be something you need to call down. Any backpack support weapons you carry will be on your body when you spawn. It will work this way so that when you jump to another NPC unit, that unit will also have all of the weapons you have selected in hand already. Here's another fun part. Because each of the 4-player might have a different backpack plus support weapon loadout, you as a player can select your teammate NPC to jump into that unit and use your friend's loadout as well. When it comes to team loading, since there are NPC next to you, pressing the I need reload should call the NPC to come reload your gun instead of needing a player to stop their own shooting to reload a weapon. A duty that is not fun for the reloader currently. So as a grunt game, you would die easily. So like in the Battlefield game, you will instantly spawn in the POV of another soldier next to you. No need to wait for teammates to call in reinforcement anymore. Your spirit just goes into another nameless soldier in the battlefield. In the battlefield, some mission might have varying amount of NPC soldiers. So one failure state is that you and your army die too many times that there's no one left to hot swap. In this case, capturing enemy bases should give some extra lives or hotpot drop more reinforcement soldier NPC to move forward. So the next mechanic is how can the player control the army. This goes back to the main map before the start of the mission. It would be fun for the player to be able to not only set where they will spawn, which is on the edge of the map first. Then the next step is to set out a path plan for the NPC to go to each base in order. Otherwise, the NPC soldiers might be running around like headless chickens. Being able to plan a path for the NPC to go in a certain direction will give some extra level of strategy to the game. The host should then be able to change the direction that the NPC will move inside the mission as well. And maybe since each player will have their own set of NPC soldiers, like a squad, their own personal squad, maybe each player should be able to move their own NPC soldiers to a certain location as well. Now, it would not be a battlefield game without the vehicles. And for Helldivers 2 Grunt Fantasy game, our gameplay will heavily focus on vehicles. As for the enemies, will be extra fast, extra accurate to kill you, since you are a grunt after all. So to protect yourself, you need the right amount of vehicles to have the firepower to beat the enemy. To keep it short, there's a gap between the power of our Super Destroyer and Eagles and the Helldivers. And so right now we want our Helldivers to be stronger to compete with the enemies in the game. That's in the current games. We want our Helldivers primary weapons, support weapons to be stronger to match up the enemies. But in this battlefield inspired game, if our main power comes from our tanks, helicopters, and trucks, and playing as a team in those vehicles, while also still calling down Eagles and the Super Destroyer for support, it allows the Helldivers themselves to be weaker. Weapons less effective against the bigger enemies, starting with the Chargers and above. And even worse is that any player who goes alone will certainly get swarmed and die instantly like the grunt they are. So let's go through some vehicles examples. There's around 30 to 40 vehicles in the game across land, air, and sea. They will have 5 battle tanks or tank destroyers, around 9 trucks, jeeps, and transport vehicles. The transport vehicle might be used for missions of a certain type to transport people, and then 6 helicopters. And to take a step back real quick, one of the reasons that I wanted the spawn point to be on the edge of the map only is to sort of set an idea that Super Earth sets a small base in the perimeter around the area where the mission will take place, and that small base will be the location where the vehicles will spawn. Maybe each player can choose one vehicle they want to bring into the battle, and it's not part of the 4 stratagem slots. They can choose a mix of Super Destroyer, bombardments, or Eagles as far as the 4 stratagem slots will be. And then if you ask about the turrets, that might be the 5th stratagem shots. That will be the 5th stratagem slot for the turrets, or disposable support weapons like the Eats as extra weapons. So the vehicles will be designed to hold 4 players obviously, and the transport trucks can hold more, in case you want to bring a lot of NPC soldiers with you to another location quickly. Things like tanks will have the main driver also control the main gun, one person control the heavy machine gun mount, and 2 other teammates might be sitting on top at the back side of the tank. And the benefit is that they can throw stratagems, because their normal primary weapons will be much weaker as a result compared to the heavy machine gun and the tank. For helicopters, the player will just hot swap to the helicopter that will by default be flying slightly behind the main army, providing support. The player may jump into those helicopters to take control themselves, but the downside is that flying vehicles will be lower armor and can die to enemy anti-air solution. Just flying into battle alone will still be a suicide mission. When one runs out of ammo, the player jumps to another soldier on the ground and lets the AI take over to fly back to the spawn point to refuel again. Losing the vehicle simply has a cooldown before another one will spawn and drive to the front line again. For ground vehicles, we'll have more than one depending if it's a truck that will have more or tanks that is a little fewer. Then flying helicopter might have a max 1 or 2 helicopters, since a team of 4 helicopters might be overpowered. The main idea again is that weak grunt soldiers and their weapons might be decent at killing small, equal level shaft enemies, and they will one-shot them, but their weapons will soon be ineffective to medium to large enemies. The support weapon in their loadout should at least meet the demands to kill medium-sized enemies in the short term until their teammates comes to help. This will sound bad in our current Helldivers 2 game, but remember that the main power comes from the 20 or more NPC controlled soldiers with the same loadout firing at the enemy. A death with 1,000 cuts, basically. Then the main power comes from the vehicles to do the main anti-tank for larger enemies to protect you from dying. The last benefit to the vehicles is that the player can kite the enemies more by driving around them as well. Lastly, as a solo player can always use the various jump packs and warp packs if they really want to play a little bit more solo in this game. So healing using stims might be slower or less effective in the current state of Helldivers. It will be set up in such a way that one player might want to build up their loadout to have medic abilities if they want to be able to preserve more soldiers. It's not just a stim pistol, but a backpack dog that can heal perhaps, or some support weapon that can heal, like the Team Fortress 2 medic healing gun. This won't or should not force a team to need a medic player, because the team should be able to go all damage with no medic and still have enough NPC soldiers to push through, even if many will die in the process. Last section is the mission types, and with 3 whole factions it's a little too much at the moment, and I want to maybe save that for a more comprehensive list for a future video. Shortly from what I found that are outside of the current missions we see in Helldivers right now are the escort missions. So you have to transport a VIP, which can be really difficult to try to keep those types of NPCs alive. There might be the main mission and secondary mission to complete in case the main one fails. So there's still a purpose to see the mission until the very end. There's also a smaller squad mission where instead of an army of soldiers taking a target out, you have fewer 3 to 5 friendly soldiers, and if all the friendly soldiers die, you can't respawn anymore, and that will be the failure of the mission. This will certainly need one player to play as the medic role to keep the team alive and require more sneaking around. A good variety of missions from the other main combat type missions. A quick list of other missions are defend position, escort a vehicle, destroy enemy assets, and reach a checkpoint. So thank you everyone for reaching the end of this hypothetical game pitch Helldivers grunt fantasy design video inspired from the game Battlefield 2. Quick summary again is that the main designs are the hot swap mechanic to allow us to switch between soldiers faster, die and respawn faster, and our strength is supported by the vehicles in the battlefield than our own primary weapons. Feel free to share your other ideas in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for my next video is to pitch Helldivers with a larger player map beyond just 4 and wanting to take inspiration from PlanetSide 2. Until we meet again.